The Delimitation Commission's redrawn map for Jammu and Kashmir's assembly election was notified a few days before the Supreme Court of India's judgment on sedition. As expected, Kashmir's political parties oppose its results. Though they had raised critical queries on the Commission's draft during its consultation phase, most of their concerns were not addressed. Instead, the Commission's final report speaks glowingly of the enthusiasm and the support members received. Perhaps the Commission members did not read the innumerable news stories detailing criticism of their draft. Or perhaps they concluded that erstwhile legislators do not represent public opinion. Either way, the gap between the Commission's self-projection in the report and the views of the Valley's political leaders is as wide as a chasm undergo fresh delimitation after 2026. After protests, 4 of the 5 states were dropped from the list, leaving only Jammu and Kashmir. Fresh delimitation was necessary for Jammu and Kashmir, the Narendra Modi administration said, since the state had been divided into 2 union territories and elections could only be held under the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganisation Act 2019. The decision placed the Valley's regional political parties in an impossible situation. Over 5,000 people, including 3 former chief ministers, had been taken into preventive detention days before the Reorganisation Act was passed, many of them charged with unlawful activities tantamount to sedition. The state's assembly had been dissolved a year earlier, and it was under President's rule. 4 parties were in the Supreme Court of India challenging the act. If they cooperated with the Delimitation Commission, they would be seen as tacitly watering down their court challenge. If they did not cooperate, they risked their concerns being ignored. Given that non-cooperation might radically shift power balances within and between districts, most of Kashmir's regional parties chose to submit written representations to the Commission. The central question of why Jammu has gained 6 assembly seats and the Valley only 1 has been brushed under general remarks on methodology, with no explanation of how that methodology was applied. For example, the Commission claims to have taken plus 10% of the average population at the Patwari or ward level as a measure for redrawing constituencies in flat areas and minus 10% in hilly areas. But that does not answer the question of why Jammu province has more seats relative to its population than the valley, thus, with a differential of as much as 20,000 people per seat. Stop.